or whatever. I don't know. Ah, shit. You ready? Anyways, Dragon Ball, Sparky Zero, 10 things I need to know. Let's start.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming soon, and I'll be honest, we've seen the comments. We know it's the game we haven't talked about enough on Game Rank. So today we're changing that. We're talking about 10 things you need to know about the game before it releases. Starting off at number 10, you gotta know that the Budokai Tenkaichi gameplay is back. The Tenkaichi games on the PS2 were awesome. Everyone has their favorite, but for us, Tenkaichi 3, with its massive roster and deep well of game modes, just made it awesome. These games in general didn't have the most in-depth and complex combat systems, but what they did have was like a fighting system that actually made it feel like you were in a battle from Dragon Ball, flying all over the place, shooting blast, destroying the environment. These games captured the essence of the power of Dragon Ball in a way that like a traditional tournament fighter really couldn't. So if you're unaware, the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which isn't actually related to the Budokai series in any way, it was just Atari's way of piggybacking on that game's popularity at the time. In Japan, these games were called Dragon Ball Z Sparking, and that's why this new game is called Sparking Zero.
I did not know that.
It's reverting the series back to its original Japanese game, which is good because Budokai Tenkaichi is a lot. These games have more in combat with arena fighters, if you're at all familiar with those. You've got a third-person, over-the-shoulder camera and full 360-degree movement. Combat mechanics are more streamlined, so everyone has the same inputs for the most part, but they all have unique abilities and mechanics. Fidelity to the source material is emphasized over game balance sometimes. The most powerful guys in the series are going to be tougher and do more damage than the weaker characters. This isn't like Fighters, where there's some attempt at like making the fighter roster balanced in some way. Like earlier versions of Goku are much weaker than Super Saiyan God Goku. Dr. Wheelo is gonna have a bad time against Majin Buu. You get the idea. In some ways, the gameplay feels closer to a sports combat game because it's more about mechanics than a traditional fighter. It's just way more flashy than any sports game. There are so many abilities and systems in this series that's just there because it's cool and it's fun. Like
I'm
how
excited for my
characters can
guy,
transform and power up or unleash literally world-destroying attacks that completely change the environment. Everything these games do is to be fun, accessible, and cool as hell. They're games that take some time adjusting to get used to because even if they're close to arena fighters in style, they still play very differently from most of those games. But once you get the flow down, there's nothing else quite like them. The old games were so much fun. The next gen ones, not as much, but from everything we've seen of this new entry in the series, it looks like it's sticking closer to those classic older games, while making a few appreciated changes that should hopefully make the combat more fun and dynamic. Now at number 9, the roster. If you're a Dragon Ball head, this is the stuff you want to hear. Tenkaichi 3 has an absurd roster of over 150 fighters, but this game is going to easily top it with a starting lineup of 182 fighters total, counting the pre-order bonus character, but not counting the planned DLC characters, which will bring the total playable characters in the game to over 200. This lineup draws from the entire history of Dragon Ball, bringing in pretty much everybody of significance from Dragon Ball Z, including all their various forms. You can't have a Dragon Ball game without a gobsmacking amount of Gokus, and this game does not disappoint. If our count is correct, there are 17 different Gokus. That's more Gokus than many full fighting game rosters. That's as many as in Street Fighter 2 if you count Akuma, and we're not counting fusions here. Just the guys literally called Goku. Well, not Goku Black, he's like a different character kind of. Anyway, okay, so what actually counts as a Goku anymore is open to interpretation, but the point here is that there's a lot of Gokus. They go all the way back to Teen Goku from the original Dragon Ball and bring it full circle with the newest version of Goku with the pre-order DLC, which has Dragon Ball Daima's kid version of the character, which is different from Dragon Ball GT's kid version. Look, I know this series is confusing. I know I had to brush up on a lot of this stuff, but just stick with me. For us, the most exciting thing about this game is the new characters that are showing up. The series originally ended back in 2011, 2 years before Battle of the Gods continued the story, and with Super running for as long as it has, there's like a whole cast of characters showing up here that never appeared in the previous games. The game's cast primarily goes up through the new Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super, ending with characters from Super Hero who are showing up as DLC. Say what you will about Super's quality, but many of these guys should make for fun characters to play as. There are some deep cuts here and some surprising additions, but most surprising of all is that the game is going to include a ton of stuff from Dragon Ball GT, which is apparently still canon. It's just considered an alternate universe now that Super has become quote-unquote the real follow-up to Dragon Ball Z. Another fun surprise is that every bad guy from the Dragon Ball Z movies are in this as well, including both the Super and the old versions of Brawly. Seems like they got a lot for every different type of fan, new and old. Is anything missing? No Mercenary Tao and a general lack of original Dragon Ball characters. It's really just Teen Goku and Master Roshi. But with a roster this big and deep, there are acceptable losses, I guess, there. Next, over at number 8, with more and more games going online only with their multiplayer, it's nice to get some kind of confirmation that this game will have split screen, so you and your friends can play together on a single TV if you want. The in-person experience is perfect for these types of games, especially ones that have a lot of pick up and play appeal, but there's one big problem with the split screen that has to be addressed here. According to the developers, while the game does allow you to play together locally on a single screen, you're limited to only one map. The hyperbolic time chamber, you know, the one that's just set in like a big blank white void. It's this training stage of these games. That is weird. That sucks, because half of the fun of these battles is how you can completely destroy everything around you and fly all over the place. Battles can start in one place, then go up high in the sky, then deep underwater, then in the middle of a canyon or a city. The expansive stages make this feel like less of a generic fighting game and more like this titanic superhero brawl. You know, the whole reason we talk about why we love this game in the first place and like the first point, the levels and the destructibility are awesome. So it's disappointing to hear that it seems like you can't do any of that playing split screen. This is specific. I know only a small portion of this audience even cares about it, but it's something that was special. Hopefully they update it or patch it and add more levels. I don't know, but I don't want to be stuck with my friends playing in the most boring stage. Next at number 7, it's been over a decade since this series bowed out originally, and at that point, it was becoming pretty obvious that some of its gameplay systems needed some updating. That's what Sparking Zero intends to do. They want to make something that's like the original games, but better. At least that's the plan, and from what we've read, it seems like they're taking some steps in the right direction. For one thing, movement speed has been dramatically increased across the board. So now just like moving around is as fast when you hold down the dash button in the original games. The old dash button is now used for the short dash, a little burst of speed that's just useful for closing distances or avoiding attacks. The other major addition is this new skill counter. As you fight, you earn these points which can be spent to perform special abilities, many which tie into the game's new comeback mechanics. There are 2 abilities that allow for easy reversals if you spend skill count. There's the revenge counter, where you can attack in the middle of an opponent's turn. You still take damage, but you can interrupt a combo string and retaliate with your own. That's nice. Along with the revenge counter, though, there's this super perception, which is basically a command counter in a fighting game. You trigger it before an opponent's attack to trigger an automatic counter move that will avoid damage and give you the upper hand. From all the footage we have seen, Sparking Zero looks like a faster-paced version of the old games, with all the original mechanics still intact, like the sparking system and the Dragon Dash and all that stuff that made those games unique and special. We hope those new changes make for an even better game, but right now, considering that we haven't actually played it, we haven't gotten our hands on the game, we can't say how it'll play. We don't know how it'll shake out, but keep your eyes peeled for more videos. Next at number 6, you need to know that there is no character creator. If you want that, you'll have to stick with the Xenoverse games, but there is a customization menu where you can change out costumes and add accessories to the fighter. So yes, on top of having 180-ish or more characters,
I'm fine with that.
This game also has multiple different costumes per character. In the example given, they show Goku in many states of undress. Can these costumes carry over between different versions of a character? I don't know, and we're not sure how you unlock them. All we know is that they're in the game, so every permutation of a character that appears in the story mode is available to play as if you want. One interesting additional little bit of info that we found on the game's beginner guide on the website, along with full outfits and some little accessories like a halo or a scouter, you can give fighters ability capsules that enhance their stats in some way. This is a
Interesting.
holdover from the old games, but we're not sure how it's going to work in this one. They sound like something that could easily be turned into some kind of annoying pay-to-win item sold for real cash. But so far, it seems like this game is committed to the old school style. So hopefully, this is just an in-game item that you can only get as a reward from playing the game. Next, over at number 5, the story mode of Sparking Zero is called Episode Battle, and in it, you play through the defining fights of the Dragon Ball series by playing through a specific character's story. And for this, there are 8 characters total. Half are what you'd expect. There's Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo. But the other 4 are a little different, letting you play as Future Trunks, Frieza, Goku Black, and Jiren. Rather than just being a straightforward story mode, these episodes give you choices that affect the...
No, I definitely play Goku Black and Future Trunks for sure. Maybe Jiren. After that trailer, Jiren might have to be a character I play in the story. Well, I was planning on playing all of them, but nah, Jiren's crazy. That nigga was fast.
The outcome of the story. So when playing as Goku, you can decide to go it alone against Raditz, which then changes what happens next. Sometimes these stories can apparently lead to different encounters and send the stories spiraling in different directions. But sometimes they just lead back to the original path, making a small change but not really affecting things. There are obvious choices you can make between battles, but sometimes things change depending on how you resolve a fight. Like if the character you're playing as wins a battle they're meant to lose, that can change things by quite a lot. There are other more hidden triggers as well, which are even harder to figure out. Because, I mean, at this point, we've all seen the story of Dragon Ball Z play out 100 times already in 100 different video games. So we appreciate that this game lets us possibly do some things a little bit different. Also, it's worth noting, it seems like the scenarios are going to be varied in length, you know, depending on a character. Like, obviously, Goku's around the longest, so his is going to take a while.
Yeah.
Now over at number 4, another interesting new mode are these custom battles, which give you the tools to make your own dramatic Dragon Ball throwdowns. It reminds me of the story editor from those old WWE games. You can kind of piece together and edit cutscenes for pre and post battles and special events and conditions that need to be triggered during the fight, add music, change the character's appearance. This seems like there's a pretty decent selection of options here. These scenarios can be shared online, so anyone else can go into this mode and download custom battles from other players, provided they are able to beat the battle themselves to prove that it's not impossible, like a Mario Maker situation. This sounds like a fun idea, and from what they've shown, the event editor allows for some pretty complex rules and scenarios. You're still just building a single battle, and while there are options for subtitles, it looks like you can only use phrases provided by the game. You can't write your own dialogue, which does kind of limit how crazy people can go with this. But still, we're just looking forward to jumping in and seeing what kind of weird stuff people more creative than us can come up with. There's going to be some pre-made custom fights you can check out as well, apparently. Just really, with the massive roster here, there's so much potential for people to have fun, and we're excited to see what they cook up. Now down at number 3, tournaments have always been a big part of these games, and they're back in Sparking Zero with some twists on the old formula. How they do work remains the same fundamentally. You have a character, you enter a bracket, and try to beat everyone else to become number 1. But there are a few different types of tournaments to pick from. There are 6 pre-made tournaments like the World Tournament, where landing on the ground outside the ring counts as a loss, or the Yamcha games, where anything goes and it's just chaos. The rules change every match. The game also lets you make your own tournament with your own rules, which can be played both online and offline. Now, we've already mentioned the unfortunate state of offline play in the game, but it's at least going to support full online play. There's battle mode, which is just your standard online mode, and ranked mode for more serious hardcore players. If the game will actually draw the attention of serious pro fighting game players, I don't know, but at least the online options seem all right, if a little basic. Don't expect like complex rollback netcode. The game doesn't have it, probably can't have it, and just because the nature of the gameplay, you know, it's not like a regular fighting game. There are too many possible inputs, so rollback doesn't work. At least that's what it seems like, according to speculation online. Now down at number 2, so there's only about 100 fighters available at the start of the game.
Only 100
total, which left us wondering, how are you supposed to unlock these guys? Well, it sounds like there's going to be a few ways. According to the developers, some are unlocked by completing episode battles. Some you get from finishing the bonus battles. and others are simply unlocked from the in-game store using Zenny, the currency that's been in these games since the PlayStation 2 days. Zenny isn't just for unlocking new fighters, it's also used for the costumes we mentioned, the accessories, and the ability capsules. That's not the
Got a
only way
Zenny
you
farm.
unlock these characters either, though. Depending on the pre-order
I want
version you
that
buy,
ZN
certain
drip.
characters will automatically unlock too. Not everyone, just certain characters. It's questionable stuff like that that has us concerned about how monetized the game will be, but right now there's no word on possible microtransactions. We just hope that whatever they do, it doesn't end up interfering with the experience. It's one of those things that could end up being totally benign and not that bad, or awful and filled with terrible microtransactions.
Let's hope
if it's just
it's
some
not.
DLC characters, fine, whatever. But if they lock lots of characters that are already in the game behind a lot of really tedious grinding that they like intentionally made worse to drive people to buy currency, then that's not cool. Bandai has gone kind of either way in the past, but with a big high-profile game like this, we're hoping they curtail their worst instincts and just try to deliver the best possible straightforward video game experience. And speaking of that type of stuff, down at number 1, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is releasing worldwide on October 10th, 2024 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and Steam. This will be the first Budokai Tenkaichi game to release on PC, which should be exciting for the mods alone. Even for PlayStation games, the older games in the series are still popular with modders who have done some really hilarious, awesome, cool, crazy stuff with the old games. So we're really expecting them to bring some of that energy to Sparking Zero here. Now, if you pre-order the base game, you get the Dragon Ball Daima Goku for free, along with 6 character early unlocks, which are 3 different forms of 2 characters. These don't cost any extra, you just have to pre-order the game. That's the standard edition. Then there's the deluxe edition, which comes with the season pass that is apparently going to add over 20 playable characters from the superhero movie and the upcoming Daima anime series.
3 days early access.
All that, and they're doing the early access thing. Get the deluxe edition, you get 3 days early access.
3 days
kind
of grind and
got
got
the game
Goku.
for everybody else. One other thing, you can also summon Shenron, which is completely unexplained. My only guess is that the game does something like the old games where you can collect the Dragon Balls in-game and do certain things, and then if you get all of them, then you can summon the dragon and get a list of things to wish for, like maybe a bunch of in-game money or maybe an unlockable character. Maybe it's something like that. We're spitballing. But there's also this Ultimate Edition, which costs even more. It adds in a cosmetic pack and lets you summon Super Shenron, which I assume is just better wishes or something. The most important thing is that you get the season pass and 3 days early access for both of those versions. So now it's really up to you how much you're willing to spend, if anything, really. But hey, those are 10 things you need to know about the upcoming Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It seems like a pretty exciting one, so let us know what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear anything you got about the game, any memories playing the originals, any expectations, any hopes, dreams, fears for this one. Let us know. If you like this video and you like talking games with us, every characters, these don't cost any extra, you just have to pre-order the game. That's the series. All that and there are things completely unexplained.
I think I got this. Yeah, I got this first. I get to summon. Oh wow, I got the
which costs even more. It adds in a cosmetic pack and lets you summon Super Shenron, which I assume is just better wishes or something. The most important thing is that you get the season pass and 3 days early access for both of those versions. So now it's really up to you how much you're willing to spend, if anything, really. But hey, those are 10 things you need to know about the upcoming Dragon Ball.
Gamer Ranks. I know I just butchered his name. But yeah, nah. Like I'm excited for the drip. I'm not gonna lie. I want to make my drip. I feel like that would be cool. Like imagine if I could give God Goku, right? His hold on, where's it at? It's somewhere here. Oh shit, I restarted the video. Imagine if I give God Goku his Z drip. This drip. Like imagine red hair, blue gi, or even this Yardrat drip. Like it's like it's cool. If I could give him his Saiyan armor drip, I don't even know it. I don't know what I want on him. I don't know what I want on them, but just know that we're gonna be customizing for sure. Ain't no way we're gonna have standard Goku or standard characters. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I gotta see. If Future Trunks, I like Future Trunks. Like his drip is always nice. Okay. Next video.
Yo, what is up, everybody?
We got Black Talon Gaming. All characters that are missing from the final roster. You know, it's good to know because it's what we could get later. You know, it's good to know. Anyways, let's watch.
Everybody, and welcome to the Black Talon Gaming channel. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero just had an awesome trailer where they showed off all 100
This was released
characters
11
for the
days ago.
final roster of the game. But for this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. Instead of talking about all the characters that are in the game and that was shown off in the final trailer, I want to talk about the characters that are not in the game and that are missing from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So stay tuned, guys, because this video is going to be all of the missing characters from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Some call me Raven, the Dark Talon of Death.
But before we begin this
That's
video,
interesting.
I first need to set some rules. Number one, I will only be discussing characters from the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games.
Okay.
This means that I will not be referring to characters from the Raging Blast or Ultimate Tenkaichi games. So no Hachiak, no Tarble, and no Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. The second rule, this video will not be a wishlist video for the characters I want to see added into Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. If you're interested in a video like that, hey, check out this video I made a while ago. And the third rule for this video is gonna be, if you enjoy this video, then give this video a like, and also consider subscribing for more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero content in the future and videos on this channel. Alright, so we first need to talk about the most shocking characters that are missing from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I know that you all know who I'm referring to if you see the thumbnail for this video. 2 weeks ago, we got an amazing trailer showcasing the characters from Dragon Ball
What's the thumbnail?
GT. It had Pan and Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Baby Vegeta and Omega Shenron, but I couldn't help but notice that someone else important was missing.
Oh,
from that
Super
trailer.
17.
So, you know, I had to clean my glasses and I even had to rewind the video a couple of times just to make sure I wasn't bugging. Like, is there something wrong with my eyes? There's no way he's not in this game. And then I came to the realization, Super 17, he's not in the game.
I don't know why.
Super 17,
I don't know
one
why.
of the main villains of Dragon Ball GT, has been completely skipped over for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, considering he was in all the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. I mean, they managed to add Babidi over Super 17. They managed to add the nameless Frieza soldiers over Super 17. This character, nobody barely even remembers from Dragon Ball Super, got in over Super 17. I mean, what's his name again? What is it? Arnisha? Or something like that?
Arnisha?
Crazy, man. The other two characters from Dragon Ball GT that are missing in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero are also going to be Nova Shenron and Ice Shenron. So unfortunately, there will be no Burning Spin in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So up next, we have the entirety of the original Dragon Ball cast, aside from Kid Goku. You heard me right. The entire original Dragon Ball cast is not going to be in Sparking Zero. That means we're missing characters like General Tao, his regular and his cyborg form, Demon King Piccolo, Tambourine, Devilman, Nam. What? They're not including my boy Nam, the cross-arm dive Nam. That's freaking crazy. Chi-Chi, General Blue, Android 8, and Grandpa Gohan. Now I will be talking about missing characters from the Dragon Ball Z cast, which includes movie-exclusive characters as well. The biggest one I noticed in the recent trailer was No Python. We saw Janemba in both his forms and Super Saiyan Gogeta from the Fusion Reborn movie included in the game, but once again I had to kind of scratch my head and look left and right. No Python. So there will be no Hyper Tornado in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Once again, a huge disappointment and unfortunate loss of a fan favorite character for this game. I mean, guys, they managed to add Kui over Python. Like, what the other characters are Supreme Kai and of course Kibito Kai, King Vegeta, Fasha, Base Form, Garlic Jr. Transform Garlic Jr. is in Sparking Zero, but not his little base form as shown here. Zanya Salza from Kurios Amon Squad. And of course, last but not least, Arale-chan, all right? So there we have it, guys. Those are all the missing characters from
Interesting.
previous Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi games that are missing from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Now, once again, I'm only including characters from the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. I'm not talking about Raging Blast, you know, so of course, I didn't talk about Tarball or Hotshak or Androids 14 and 15 and all that stuff. So even though the game is still missing some pretty important characters like Super 17 and Pycon and even Nova and Ice Shinron, I still feel like
Nah, we gotta
they
get
did a
the
pretty good
Pycon.
job with this roster. It managed to fit in all of the Dragon Ball Super characters that have been shown in these past few years. But the question is, are they ever going to add these older characters back into the game at a future date? Who knows? They might. I could definitely see a Dragon Ball DLC pack with, like, you know, Demon King Piccolo and Tambourine and all that stuff. And I could definitely see an expanded Dragon Ball GT pack in the future as well. I personally feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Super 17 should have been base roster. Pycon should have been base roster. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If we can get Bobbity, if we can get Frieza soldiers, then we could definitely get Super 17 and Pycon. Could we get Zongia to come back in the future? I think so. I'm surprised she was not included in this game. I think she should have been in base roster as well. So some of these characters being missing is definitely kind of like eyebrow raising. Like, what the actual fuck? Like who did you guys forget? Especially Super 17. Did you guys forget Super 17? Like, what the fuck, man? But hey, guys, that's the video, right? So those are all the missing characters from previous Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi games in Sparking Zero. So, guys, what are your thoughts? How do you guys feel about the final roster for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero?
I don't even know if I don't even know why I remembered like Super 17. I don't. He was just someone like I don't know. I don't even know why I remembered him, but like I did. Like Pycon, I definitely forgot about. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely forgot about him a little bit, a lot bit. But hey, you know, it is what it is. But Super 17? I don't know. I didn't even like play him or nothing, so I don't even know why like I remember him.